Hello everyone, welcome back to EastEnders Weekly, your weekly podcast all about Celebrity Apprentice. It's got a link to EastEnders in there, so we're allowed to talk about it.
One link, Kim yes. Fox, or Tamika, of course. Yeah. Tamika Epsom.
Putting her business head on.
Well, yeah, which wasn't much of a business head, as it turns out.
No.
She wasn't that great. When they showed a trailer for it, I was really excited that she was going to be this really silly and over-the-top character, and she ended up being a bit moot, didn't she? Not really.
Yeah, well, she did that thing last year where she did that like fitness thing, and she was a bit quiet on that as well.
I think outside...
She's not really Kim, you see.
I understand she's not really good. But when she was given... When they won the prize... Spoiler alert, if you've not seen the Celebrity Apprentice, the girls' team won, which is quite appropriate, being International Women's Day as well, on the day of the airing. And they had a BMX adventure. And on that, she was really silly and over the top and playful. But when she was in this environment where she was very nervous. She couldn't sell tickets. She went into an office, started shouting at people.
Did you notice when she was selling the tickets then, she turned into Kim. She acted. She thought, oh, I'll just act like Kim and then I'll get away with it. So that's what she did, I think.
I think she's better. She's better with a script, so she can bounce off people with a script. But when she's not given the information in front of her, she's not so silly.
But they won, so
they won exactly. And the boys team who was fired? I forgot who was fired. Oh, it was
the comedian guy. I don't know what his name is.
Dajili, the comedian. Yeah, because he did that balloon act. Where you have just two balloons and it covers your modesty, and one of the balloons popped and everyone saw apparently his modesty. So he lost on that. I think it was pretty much on that basis. Lord Alan Sugar fired him.
It's a bit of fun, although he did say EastEnders has been on for 40 years
and also claimed that he's watched every episode, so questionable there, let's be honest.
It is.
His great granddaughter was on it as well, wasn't it? Is it his granddaughter's goddaughter?
Roxy,
that's his goddaughter. It's his goddaughter.
She is. She plays a small part in it, I think. Yeah.
No, not the Apprentice. Like, what relation is she?
No, in EastEnders, yeah.
Okay.
Small part. Roxy Mitchell, I think.
Roxy Mitchell.
Yeah.
Didn't she die? Didn't she die off screen?
Yeah. Forgotten about.
Yeah.
No, we are about EastEnders, and we are discussing episodes from the 4th to the 8th of March.
I'm Alex, by the way.
Are you?
I am. I'm also a small part. I'm going to die off screen.
Forgettable.
Yeah.
You are. And I'm Ben, for anyone who wondered. So we've got lots to go through this week. There's no time for Classic EastEnders Roundup again.
Yeah, really sorry. It's just these weeks are beginning to get really jam-packed.
Kate Oakes. I want John York back.
Do you?
My 4 weeks of Mel, 4 weeks of Slaters, and that's nice and simple for us. I
mean, when you listen to the feature this week, we do obviously Julia's theme. Once watching the John York episodes, I started to feel a bit like, oh, actually, I bigged up John York for doing a good job building the foundation, but now we've got 2 weeks in with the Oates era. I'm feeling a bit good about the Oates era, to be honest with you.
Don't get too carried away.
Well,
you don't know what's around the corner.
Optimism is always my big thing.
But I just wanted to quickly say on Classic EastEnders, I know we're not talking about it, but we just saw the episode where Michelle has an abortion.
Yes, Not Told Lofty.
Yeah, and I've got to say that is probably one of the best episodes of EastEnders I've ever seen. Like, so much happened in that half hour with so many different stories, and it's so good. So I just want to say, yeah, that was one of the best episodes.
Yeah, the whole thing happened in one episode, didn't it? One half an hour. She went to the clinic, had it done, the reveal was made, and the fallout, and it was all really good. Yeah, really, really excellent episode.
And a whole group of really good, all the Beales and the Fowlers,
Lou knew.
At their height.
Lou knew. Even when Michelle said, I'm just visiting a friend, Lou knew.
Yeah.
She had a little twinkle in her eye. She thought...
It was very good.
Over a stout.
Ordinary drama, but it was one of the best. I think that, you watch that and that is EastEnders, that episode.
Yeah.
It was very good. But anyway, back to 2019.
Yes.
We've got loads to cover because storylines are overlapping everywhere. Characters talking to other characters.
I know. Coming out the era of block storytelling has officially ended after this week.
And we're going to have to reformat the show, I think.
I think so. I've lost hair over this week.
It's very difficult to place storylines because everyone's just everywhere in everyone's business.
But we tried our best.
We have. So we're going to start off with the sort of Mitch, Karen, Bailey situation.
And he's still looking for someone to care for Bailey, or at least someone to share care.
Apparently.
Well, yeah, I know. It seems ridiculous that he just seems to have just written off any responsibility.
Are you still finding it hard to sympathise for Mitch?
Well, Mick and Mitch. I mean, he's difficult to sympathise with when you just feel like makes out that he's doing it all for Bailey, but really it seems to be benefiting him more than Bailey.
Because he doesn't live with Bailey and her mum, does he?
No, and he said that he's the one who gives Bailey the respite from when she's the home care for her mum. But like, why have you put Bailey in this situation in the first place?
Yeah, and like him wanting Karen to then take care of her. It's like, why doesn't he just take care of her? It's really weird. It's like, are we meant to feel sorry for him? Or
he did do one visit for Dinah, Bailey's mum, and when they got home, there was Karen and Bailey already there, because Bailey was explaining her role to Karen, wasn't she? Because Karen wanted to know a bit more information of what Bailey really has been up to, been involved with.
Yeah, I mean, it's come out that her mum probably doesn't have long to live, but they can't say exactly how long. Like, loads of things are going on with the Taylors this week. Like, Keegan is like in hospital for drug overdose, and that's like spurred on Bailey to tell Keegan about her home life and how difficult she has, and that's why Karen is now seeing Bailey so grown up, and she's like, oh, Keegan could learn a lot from you, everything you have to do. And she takes her to the flat, and Karen sees firsthand, like, Bailey gets up in the morning, she does her pills, she does her breakfast, she washes her and everything, because she looks through her bag and she sees that she has like incontinent pants and things like that,
for Dinah. Bailey says to Mitch also that he's tried his best trying to convince Karen, and so this is a bit of a charm offensive for Bailey as well. I think Bailey knows that she's able to persuade Karen more than perhaps Mitch has been able to up until now, because when they're in the cafe there's that scene and she outright just says, I know what you're up to, I know what you're trying to do, you're trying to get Karen to look after me, you're not able to do it, you're not doing a very good job at it, so just kind of leave it to me because I'll be able to do it. So Bailey is so wise beyond her years. It's shocking. It's just she looks at the world from such an adult view that you feel a bit sad for Bailey, that she's just kind of lost all childhood.
Yeah,
but she seems happy in the situation that she's in,
because she was the only one as well to tell Karen, like, oh no, it was Tiff that had the drugs from I saw him. Like, she was the only one. And when he was collapsed in the alleyway, she was the one who went to go get help and stuff.
And she was the one who knew to, phone an ambulance. And while everyone around her was panicking, again, this sensible head on her shoulders, she was the one who was able to just kind of step back and see it from the outside and work out what the next step would be. She's so... I mean, I love the character Bailey. I really do. And I think the actress who plays her... like. Child actors, let's be honest, EastEnders doesn't have a great history of them.
No, but have you noticed, I know the Kate Oates thing, but since like they've changed from John York, have you noticed that she's given the young cast so much more to do? Like even Lily, Stacey's daughter, like she never has lines.
Oh yeah, she had a full-on conversation.
She has, like, 2 full scenes, and like I think sometimes they just need to give their kids something to do, because they are young actresses, that's what they want to do, and it shows that they're not that. Lily's quite decent. Well, she's got rid of her fringe, grown up.
Her scene this week was very good, and it was very lifelike when it's a mum trying to get her daughter packed away and off to school. It was an excellent scene.
I'm glad that they're giving the younger one a bit more of a chance to just actually have a full scene, not just one sentence and then upstairs.
They changed the actor who plays Ricky. So obviously that was done for the purpose that perhaps Ricky was going to have more involvement. Young Ricky was going to have more involvement with stories in the future with his dad Jack. But Bailey is, I have to say, Bailey is one in a million. She is the actress, especially. She's got the talent there. She's going to go far, really far.
She's good, and she seems like quite popular online. Like normally when new characters come in, it's not. I'm seen with most positive. It seems quite positive for her. So.
Yeah, well, she's been in it for a while now. She's been in and out for at least a couple of months.
But I just think we just need to know a little bit more about Mitch's side. Like, where does he live, or what does he do? You can't just drive around in his van all the time. Like, he was missing from Keegan's life for so many years. Yeah. And now he's suddenly always here. So yeah, I think you just need to know a little bit more about him before we can...
But do you think he's going to bail once he's kind of given up the responsibility of Bailey again?
To Karen, that'd be his job done.
Because I think that in the back of Karen's mind, because when Karen was agreeing and speaking to Dinah, because Dinah and her had that conversation together about caring for Bailey and what Bailey's done for her, and you could see that Karen wanted to say yes, but there was doubt in her mind, and the doubt
kind of knew.
I don't think the doubt was so much that she couldn't look after Bailey. I think it was more that she'd be lumbered again.
Yeah. I mean, we've also got Chantel arriving, like another Taylor, because there's so many, like, all the storylines are like all Taylors all over the place. But so I don't know how like Chantel's going to come into this mix. Maybe she might take maternity over Bailey or something, because she's coming in soon.
Mm.
So you wonder how that's going to mix. Like, where's she going to live? Is she going to live in Ted's flat or?
Well, yes. I mean, Ted's flat's being used as a bit of a drug den still at the moment. They keep referencing to it. I mean, what happens is...
It's a nice holiday in Australia.
I think this is an extended holiday. I think I'm just waiting for that phone call now. If Ted's phoned, he's staying in Australia with family now.
He's dead.
Or dead. We don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, shall we move on to the drug storyline? Speaking of Ted's, because the drug storyline, they might be moving out because they've moved Tiffany out. Evie out.
Tiff's moving out with Evie, isn't she?
Where does Evie live?
Well, presumably Evie lives with her boyfriend, the guy who bit her lip a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know how that arrangement is going to turn out, because obviously Tiff is leaving with Evie on the presumption that she's having this now relationship with Evie, because Evie said, like, your family isn't here in Walford, your family is with me, which was one of the persuading factors to get her out.
Do you think Bunhead's out then?
But maybe.
Tiff's in, someone's got to go out.
I'll have Bunhead and Sloth, come on over. Join me for my party.
I mean, this thing with Tiffany on Friday, right up until the end, I was thinking, if they'd done a secret exit, not announced that Maisie Smith is leaving, because it was quite it was like an exit. Like, she went to every single character she's had a storyline with and said goodbye and things.
She had the CGI train.
Yeah.
That's
Julia's theme.
I was about to say that's one half of a Julia theme exit.
But yeah, and it seemed kind of final because we had the thing with Keegan where Keegan was wanting drugs and he saw Tiff and she said no, I don't have any, but he stole them from her bag.
Yes.
He had like a reaction, like it was a dodgy cut or something.
Yeah, I mean, Keegan really showed his research into drug taking. He was saying, well, what was it cut with? Was it cut with this? Was it cut with that? So yeah, it was cut with something. It was MDMA anyway, which isn't great.
I mean, when he said that and Tiff said no, do you think she's never even thought of that? She just takes the drug. She doesn't.
Oh yeah, she just picks it up and sells it.
Anything,
yeah. She doesn't know what. I don't think she has any idea what she said. No. I think she just thinks it's smarties,
So she was feeling guilty because she thought it was her fault that Keegan had ended up in hospital. Bernie found out, and she's sort of cut ties with Tiff as well. And then we also had Keegan like blaming Tiff, saying it was her fault. Yeah,
I mean, he should have taken some of the blame for this.
Yeah, he never does take responsibility though, does he? Like, even with the Shaquille thing and the bike thing, he never...
Even when Karen threw it at him, like you said, the bike thing, this week she even said, maybe you're thinking about maybe I shouldn't have taken the bike. And it's like, at this point, he should have said, yes, okay, I admit, this all the whole knife attack started because of me. But he still just kind of covered his ears and didn't want to admit to himself.
He reminded me, like this week, he reminded me of how he was like when he first got introduced. Remember before he was a tailor?
Yeah.
And he was like this, he was like a villain, wasn't he? He wasn't...
Well, he was
no redeemable. Yeah. He reminded me a bit of that again this week. So it's nice that they're remembering, what he used to be. They haven't completely rewritten him.
No, they haven't. They've kept his kind of troublesome ways. He's always... I think he's always wanting for something, isn't he? He's never really had the attention that he thinks he could get, even though his mum's given it. We know that Karen will kill for her family, like for anyone. Like this
break
week.
Down any door.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even go to the cops.
Even go to the police. Yeah, she said, that's a turn up for the book. So she went to the police and reported Tiffany, and this is when Whitney's doubt started to kick in as well, because Tiffany's story changed from when Whitney first spoke to Tiffany about the drugs and whether she had given them to Keegan. Then she started saying, oh, well, maybe he got something from my bag, or maybe I did see Keegan that night. And so Whitney's
she's like a professional liar, though, Tiff. Like, she has no
she lies
issue.
To everyone.
Yeah, she has no issues lying. She's quite like a, I don't know, like a psychopath-ish.
Yeah,
I don't know,
sociopath, isn't she? Yeah,
she really does like easily lie. But it was nice having Whitney and Tiffany scenes. We haven't had them in quite a while.
No, it was nice to see Whitney being utilised rather than I think I'm pregnant, no I'm not pregnant, which seems to be the constant loop at the moment.
Because she's so good. Both Whitney and Tiffany are both such good actresses. So it's nice that they finally got something to do.
But they're quite interesting characters, and we've said this in the past, that Whitney has had a quite similar path to the one Tiff is taking.
All of them have.
Yeah.
All of them have had like a gang sort of storyline, because Liam had that, and all of like the kids have run away in some way. Like even Ricky ran away with Sam to get like married. And,
that's going back.
Yeah, but like it's like a pattern in their family. Yeah. They've all run away from their family. So obviously Tiff is
they
taking
can't
the same stand.
They can't almost handle what's presented in front of them. They always have to get away from it.
I mean, even Carol Jackson, she's gone.
She's run away.
She's off on a motorbike.
Yeah. Well, we know she's on exercise. I'm presuming she's planted some roots because we spoke to Sonia last week. Yes. So maybe she's at like one of those retreats in the middle of like Eastern Europe or something.
But I mean, it's a bit difficult knowing that Ricky and Bianca both sort of aren't involved, which makes the storyline a bit tricky with Whitney like acting as mum.
Yeah, I mean, Whitney is the guardian, so any contact with schools or police or anything like that presumably would be then to Whitney. So that makes good sense. I mean, it surprises me, and it probably surprises a lot of listeners out there, that Whitney has never been contacted by the school by Tiff's lack of arriving to school and never being there. I mean, that would be alarm bells.
Bianca, but like Bianca's never been like a disowning mum, has she?
No, she's a very protective mum too. She's almost Karen. She's like a Karen of the time.
So it is a bit tricky writing wise, because obviously we know that she's not going to come back. She's in America and she's quite happy.
Well, the actress Patsy Palmer has said that she doesn't want to return.
No.
She's sick of being linked to the show. Hence why she lives in America now, because no one knows her out there.
Yeah, but it's almost like they need to find a way of writing a reason for Ricky and Bianca to both not seem to care. I don't know, like maybe if
Ricky...
Tiff got emancipated or something, like I don't know, something like that. Like, because
but the thing is though, Whitney has already said also that she washes her hands of Tiffany, because this week she said that she wants to start a family now with Callum, and she now
Callum
wears his hat. She basically doesn't have the time now to kind of be responsible with Tiffany. You know, Tiffany.
Well, she's done that good of a job anyway. Well, no, to be fair,
no, she's kind of let Tiffany bring herself up, occasionally interfering now and then. But I mean, she sees Tiffany as at that age. Again, Whitney had to grow up quite quickly, and so she maybe sees Tiffany the same. It's like, Tiffany, when I was your age, I had to grow up quite quickly, so maybe you should be more responsible with your own actions. Maybe
it was quite strange, those scenes they showed when when Callum. It's really difficult to call him Callum, even though that's what I wanted. When Callum and Whitney were at the Slaters and they were just on the sofa and they were talking about like Tiff and babies and being a parent, they were looking at Tiff, and then like Lily came in and talked to Stacey, and then they looked like, what were they getting at? Were they like showing how like the good sides of parenting and the difficult sides? Is that what they were trying to show to us?
I mean, I wouldn't use another Slater as an example of good side of parenting, but I guess that's...
Stacey's not a bad parent, is she? She's one of the better ones on the square.
She's not a bad parent, but...
Like, I just thought it was strange. They kept showing, like, they showed Callum and Whitney, like, reacting to watching Lily and Stacey together, and then they, like, reacting to Tiffany being... I don't know what they were trying to... Were they trying to show, like, them thinking, oh, maybe parenting isn't as easy as I thought? Oh no, look, there's a nice side to parenting. Is that what they were... I didn't know what they were trying to show.
Maybe they're reacting that because, you know, it sounds a bit bad, but maybe having a child from birth and being able to bring it up from the start is easier, or you've got more time with the child than taking on someone like Tiff, who was a troublemaker to start with and quite absorbed, and so very difficult to kind of... She's a bit of a liar. She likes to lie all the time to get her own way. She lies to Bernie, she lies to Whitney, she lies to the police. You know, she's not afraid of kind of twisting the truth for her own benefit. And so this is something that could have been... This is almost an attention seeking, isn't it, for Tiff? And something that could have been pulled out of her when she was younger.
Yeah, she's almost gone so far in that she now like has to go through with it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But you know, they were making out that she was leaving. She's given up her coat.
Yes,
to Bernie.
Yes, she says she's too old for that now.
And we all thought she was going to Milton Keynes to go back to Bianca, but she ends up meeting Evie and going with her. Yes. I mean, this giving up the coat thing, is she going to like be gone for a few months and come back, and they're going to sort of slightly change or grow up her character? I think I sort of saw that as like a transitional thing.
Yeah, I think you're going to find her in not even that long, maybe a week or two, and she'll be maybe on the street looking a bit rough, looking a bit dirty. I didn't
know if they were using this because it's always difficult when a child actor's been on the show. There always needs to be something which makes them change from like a child actor to
an adult,
a proper character.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if this getting rid of my puffer jacket and I'm going to go off for a bit is going to be her coming back changed. Like, you know how Ben went to prison and come back changed, like that sort of thing.
But he literally came back changed.
Oh yeah,
a whole new body and face.
Like that sort of thing. They made quite a big deal.
I think Bernie will probably keep the puffer jacket, and then when Tiff does eventually
comes back to Tiff,
yeah, she'll be like, I kept this for you, and then she'll give her the coat back.
The true you.
Yeah. So so basically Tiff has taken off the wolf, the character that she had around her friends in the square. But when she comes back, she want to pick up that role again. But I don't think she's going to have a good time living with Evie. I think she's going to see the rough side of Evie after this.
Oh, yes.
Like
she's already grabbed her hair.
Yes.
When she was talking
and
to
she
her
dug her
before.
nails into her in the hospital.
So yes, evil Evie will return maybe
next week, perhaps.
Yes. So we're going to move on now to a sad moment in the show because it's the end of an era. We've got the final part of Julia's legacy. Well, that music is bringing a tear to my eye because we've made it.
I know. What a marathon.
We're at the end.
It was never a sprint. It was very much a marathon.
And we're ending where our first episode started, which is weird.
We didn't even realise until this week that our very last Julia's theme is where we started. Yeah, where we started the podcast. If you want to listen to the train wreck that is episode 1, then please do enjoy.
Or you can listen to this, which would be an updated version.
Yes, looking back. I mean,
HD remake of episode 1.
We were remembering back on what we said about episode 1, about the story that we talk about at the end.
I remembered it quite clearly.
Yeah, I know. It's memories came flooding back. But yeah, no, it's nice to feel like we've gone full circle.
That's Abby Branning, by the way, everyone. Our last one.
Again, we were trying to keep that as a secret, as a nice spoiler.
Well, I was over Abby Branning's death until today when I rewatched it again, and now I'm mad again.
Well, there's a running theme. Again, at the beginning of our podcast, Abby Branning was mentioned once every episode for probably the first 20 episodes.
Yeah, Lorna Fitzgerald, we're still waiting for our interview.
Yes, we are. We came to see you do an interview in a theatre in Southampton. Why don't you do an interview for us?
Exactly. Right, so our last 4 Julia's themes. Julia's Legacy, if everyone doesn't know by now, part 13, is where we are looking back at every single Julia's theme used in EastEnders from 1985 to 2018.
But not including the
Dr. Leg. Double one.
Not including the most recent 2,
no.
Unfortunately, because it's too recent to re-mention again. We can't do a feature on something that happened 2 weeks ago.
But that was very good.
Yes.
Because Punk Mary was there. Punk Mary got a Julia's theme.
She bought a candle.
So the first one is the 22nd of April 2016. And this is saying goodbye to Nancy and Tamwa because they're off travelling.
I mean, last week I said that there was a real theme with the 4 Julia's themes. And I feel that the same is this week, as in the theme is Masood. Like, everything seems to centre around Masood one way or another.
Well, like, all of the Julia's themes, or not all of them, but a lot of them, since, like, 2004 to now, they've all pretty much centred around the Ahmeds. It's like they're the main family.
Yeah,
Who are the Slaters?
The
Ahmeds.
Who are the Slaters? Who are those? That
the
family
Ahmeds are the go-to family, apparently, because every single Julia's theme has an Ahmed.
But it's strange how I just watching it at the time, I never really realised how much the Ahmeds had such an emphasis in the show. It's really strange. I suppose it's like when you lose weight, you don't notice it on yourself. You just notice it if someone else sees it from the outside in. Of course.
But yeah, we're saying goodbye to Nancy. Nancy, I loved Nancy when she was in it. She was such a great character. So it was sad when she announced she was leaving because she chose to leave. Yeah. The actress. So selfish.
But she had a job lined up ready for Casualty, didn't she?
Yeah, it took her a few years. And the guy who plays Tamwa, he's done like loads of things as well. So he's done well out of it. But I do think it was time for Tamwa to go. Because he was just, like, the past 3 years of his last thing, he just followed people around.
Yeah, he became a bit fodder, didn't he? Where he was always giving advice, but basically couldn't. And he always,
like, the actor sounded bored.
Yeah.
I know the character was meant to be a bit whimsical like that, but he didn't look infused with the role. So I think it was a good time for him to leave.
And him and Nancy were a nice couple as well, because they both had their flaws, which they tried to hide from the world. And
they bounced off each other really well.
Yeah, but they didn't try to hide it from each other. They were really open, their relationship, and which is why it was a bit of a bone contention that when they wanted to leave the square, Masood decided to tag along, and it kind of ruined their jive, what they wanted to do wanted to achieve out of life once they'd left the square.
Yeah, because Masood was really hanging on by now as well. And especially with Tamwa going, he was like the last one, like rocketing around in that house. So, yeah, because he was like throughout the episode, he was going travelling with them.
Yes.
And Nancy didn't want him to, but she wanted Tamwa to tell him.
When Nancy was trying to convince Tamwa to tell him, at the same time Mick was at the house and actually kind of dropping.
Because everyone knew like this is just Masood trying to avoid his problems and put it all on his kids and stuff. Yeah,
Masood reverted a little bit to childlike, didn't he? Once his divorce was settled and he was on his own, looking after Carmel, and so he just saw this as an opportunity to again relive his youth. He had nothing to keep him in the square, and as Mick and eventually everyone in the square have told him, they need to live their own life. They need to be
fair, let them go.
Yeah, they need to.
If Linda Carter can let one of her kids go, then I think Masood can too.
Absolutely, but I don't think it's about letting them go, though. I think for Masood, it was that he saw the adventure they were having and wanted the adventure too.
Yeah, he was jealous.
That's it. He was jealous.
Well, he's had about 3 exits since then. So.
Well, this is what I mean. All these themes are all centered around Masood coming and going. He left, he came back, he left, he came back. But on this instance, he didn't leave. He decided to stay. He made
for
the
a few
decision.
Months. And let them go off and have their adventure their own.
They did, yeah. They said their goodbyes at the station, the tube station, ready to catch their flight. The CGI train, one of many during Julius themes.
I know. It's like a thing. Like, if you get a Julius theme, that's good.
Yep.
But if you get a Julius theme with a CGI train across the bridge, then
that's it. You're set for life.
You'll go down the history. That means you're not coming back, ever. Like you're not coming back.
You're on the DVD. You're on the Christmas DVD.
That's why Masood was allowed to come back. You see, because he didn't get one. He didn't get a CGI train.
No.
So he came back.
No, he didn't. Did he? It was very upsetting for poor old Masood.
So next up is the 7th of October 2016, and this is Pam and Les who are walking home after getting justice for
Paul.
Yes.
It's nice to have a theme that doesn't basically end with someone leaving. So that was
quite
nice.
old school Julius theme, isn't it?
Yeah. So there was a a story had finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a good ending, and it was the ending that everyone wanted.
And it was a really good storyline as well. I was very sad when Paul got killed off, because I did like him and Ben together. But the storyline that came from it, and the consequences from it, it wasn't like a wasted death, which sometimes, like Stephen, for example, he died and he just died, like Stephen Beale, and nothing come of it. But Paul's death, you had all these storylines which stranded from, because they were going. It was like a gay hate crime storyline, which it was a group of lads who attacked Ben and Paul on a night out, and Paul's actually died from the beating. So it was like a court case, and I remember it was like a few weeks before that they were doing a pre-court thing, and Pam met the mum of the son who killed Paul in the toilets, and they had like a heart-to-heart, and they sort of looked at each other and they said, well, I think we could have been friends if we met on different circumstances. But it was a bit like the Carmel.
Yeah, that's what made me think of. It? Yeah, it was really much like the Carmel when she met the mother.
Just not as well done, sadly.
What the Carmel one wasn't as well done. Yeah, I agree. I mean, this was given time for sure. This was given the time to brew and become like this big story.
It was real heartfelt, between them. And Pam and Les, they, when they first came onto the square, they were a bit like, oh, who are these weird bad actors? But as they were on the show, they really did grow, and they did actually become like 2 of my favourite characters at the time.
Same. I really liked them a lot.
They were so good, and by the time they were leaving, and by the time this was happening, it did feel extremely unfair that they killed Paul, because that's all that Les and Pam had.
I mean, that was their tie to the show, wasn't it, Paul? Which was a shame, really, because there was stories in the past that could have gone further, but they never really gave them the legs it deserved. I mean, the Les being a cross-dresser storyline was amazing.
It was
actually,
really good.
and
never been done before.
Never been done before.
Like that.
And they really pushed it. They had the actor do online Q&A at the end after the show.
And he did loads of research, didn't he, into it? Like months of research and stuff, and then it sort of just got dropped.
Yeah, just dropped and forgotten.
I'm guessing that was like a exchange of executive producers things, because I think it was Sean O'Connor that got rid of Pam and Les in the end.
So. I mean, it was a shame, but I think that other than this story, as you said, there was nothing more for Pam and Les, and so they soon left after the story. But it was a great story. I mean, I did enjoy Johnny scooting around, getting changed into his hate crime t-shirt, and then ending up going to the hen party of Whitney, who's pregnant and feels the baby kicking.
Yeah, with Lee.
Yeah, there was also the setup for the next Julius theme, only a month later, where Carmel and Masood are arguing because Masood's returned home from when he first left, and because he did leave eventually after his son, prior to this Julius theme, and so then he wants to chuck her out the tenancy, but she says she's got rights and they've got the contract, so it's leading up to the next Julius theme. So, but as I say, it's leading up to that story, but nothing to fade out what the story was really about, and that was the justice that Pam, Les, and Ben had got for Paul. And it was as I say, it was a really nice story. And when at the end Pam watches the hen party drive off in the pink van or wherever they go off in, and she winks at Johnny to say, have fun, and she watches the world go by.
Be your true self.
Be your true self. It was nice. It was a really lovely story.
And then we talked about the Masood. So Masood is leaving again. Will he return? Who knows? So 17th of November, and he's decided he's leaving now. He's told Carmel. Denise doesn't agree that he should leave. She thinks he's running away from his problems.
Yeah, I don't really get this. Why Denise has such an issue with Masood leaving? Because there doesn't seem to be much sense attached to it.
No, I mean, Masood and Denise are they used to have like a friendship. Like, that they forget people have friendships like Jean and Shirley for years, and Linda and Sharon. Like, Denise and Masood did have like this friendship thing.
Yeah, but then so did Masood and Jane. And Jane was very accepting with him leaving.
Jane's was a bit more friendship.
Well, it never went to anything over
It
sexual.
did in a hotel room.
No, they sat on the bed and drank tea.
Really?
Yes, remember? It was very
I only saw that episode.
Famously, that's what happened. Because everyone, they were going there for that night of passion, but they ended up not wanting to do it. They realised that they were better off friends. But again, at the end of this episode, Masood kisses Jane and says,
along with him.
Which he does, but he doesn't. I don't think it's meant.
I don't know. This is Masood.
I don't know. I don't think he did.
He just jumped to conclusions quite quickly.
I think that he was just saying to Jane that if the situation was different, then they would have been together. But again,
he's got Kathy next year.
He's got Kathy coming soon, so that's fine. Yeah, he doesn't give a damn about Jack.
Jane. This was a really good exit for Masood. They built it up really well. He had all the cast come out, so he had like goodbyes with everyone and loads of special moments. It would have made a really good last episode for him, but it's just spoiled by the fact that he comes back like in a year again, and then his exit this time was so awful and non-existent.
I mean, he doesn't even come back he does come back in about a year. Sorry,
just about.
Yeah.
It's a shame because it was such a good exit. It was a really good exit for that character because he said, I have nothing left here.
Well, he was saying there was ghosts. There was only ghosts here, and when he's in his house, he just sees the haunting of the past. And
That's what a lot of characters say. Really,
well, I must admit that was something that reminded me of a few lines.
Lauren said it as well.
Yeah,
and Michelle, when she left again, she said that as well. She just sat on the park bench.
Ghosts of the past.
Yeah, so
I mean, I saw a few stories and tropes kind of repeat themselves, or a few like cliches repeat themselves whilst we were watching all the Julius themes. It's just that some of them you could get away with it because obviously you're not watching them in one condensed form. But
who would do that?
I couldn't think. But when you're watching them in a more separated state, then yes, it's a much more easier. But then I suppose you're writing a script, 4 scripts every week. You're bound to repeat yourself, especially when it's the same.
And it's like a good thing to say. It like sounds good and sounds
nice little soundbite
and stuff.
Yeah, nice to put in the trailer before the episode.
So speaking of Lauren, we have the 16th of February 2018.
Yeah. Lauren finally leaves.
Lauren leaves, but also it is the funeral of Abby Branning.
Yeah, and the interesting,
which makes me extremely angry.
Yes.
Still.
So this is when this is how it all started, folks. Anyone who's not listened to the podcast from the very beginning, as we alluded to at the beginning of this section, Ben basically has had some kind of vendetta against EastEnders for killing off.
No, John York.
Sorry, just John York.
I won't ever forgive him for this.
For killing off Abby Branning.
He could have killed off Lauren. It would have been so much better.
Yeah, I know.
And he killed Stephen as well. It's like
I know Stephen was a huge mistake.
And Abby.
Yeah. It's a shame. It was a shame for Abby. But I mean, the actress Lorna Fitzgerald has done real good from it. Yeah. So let's not Let's not be too disappointed.
She could have been so easily been a Janine too, though.
I know, there was so much possibility for Abby. They were growing so much.
I was going to say, she had a really good send-off as well. The episode where her life support machine got turned off was really good. So that just went to like a fade, and it was on the time of her death. It was a real life time, and that was a really good ending. And then she had a funeral ending, which Lauren stole from her.
Well, this is what I was about to say. Actually,
ongoing theme for Abby.
Yeah, Lauren, which was a story really for Abby, because Donna says that this is the first time Abby has properly been the centre of attention. And the whole time I was thinking, no, because Lauren takes it from her again at the end of the episode.
And hardly anyone turns up either to her funeral.
I mean, this was when the
Skeleton.
EastEnders, this was the ghosts of EastEnders, I suppose. This was when John York had just started taking over. He was basically when he was instructed to cover the wounds that is EastEnders at the moment, because it was just going so wrong. I mean, looking back now, watching EastEnders, and then looking back at this episode and seeing just how fragmented. No atmosphere. Everything seems really separated and fragmented. It doesn't. I mean, EastEnders has, in a year, it's really built itself back. And Abby's funeral is probably one of the gems of the era, and even that feels bare and just
there's like
wrong.
7 people at the funeral, and Tanya's like sat in a car.
Yeah, which they claim they filmed that at the same time as the funeral.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
We knew that way back then, so don't lie to us. And like the only people that turned up to her funeral were Donna and Robbie and like some market traders.
Yeah,
like Jack leaves halfway through to go to the hospital
in his teleport machine. Again, we mentioned this at the time of the episode.
And then Max at the hospital, he's not gone to the funeral. I know he's banned and stuff, and it's like, really? And Cora's there.
Yeah.
Like Rainey, why is Rainey not there? Because she was at the hospital when her life support got turned off for like one episode. Why wasn't she at the funeral too? It's really strange.
Well, why wasn't a lot of people from the square there? Abby wasn't.
Ben.
Exactly. Abby wasn't exactly like
unpopular.
Well, unpopular and kept herself out of the loop of the square. She was always there. They made a joke, probably about 6 months prior to this, where they were putting post-it notes around the square.
Dark times.
Because she kept putting post-it notes in the flat.
I know.
And so they were teaching her a lesson. So everyone knew Abby.
And Whitney, her best friend Lauren, she wasn't. She was just at the Vic making sandwiches.
Yeah, that was really her story. But again, this is where the block storytelling, the John York era will always be known. John York era 2 will always be known as the block storytelling. And so because they needed Whitney to be in the pub with the Callum story, she couldn't be involved with the funeral story.
Yeah,
so it's just separated. Like Tina should have been there. It's just made
weird.
no
sense. And also, they like do a toast to Abby with Dot. That's like Dot's last appearance as well until the Dr. Leg.
Yeah, again, a real huge gap between their.
And then Lauren steals the Julius theme because she's meant to be moving away with Josh
to Scotland.
She just picks up her baby and just walks off. And it makes no sense. And I remember thinking, okay, maybe they're going to address this like next week, but like Lauren wasn't mentioned until like recently when Cora came back and said, "Oh, how's Lauren getting on in New Zealand?" It's like, what? It's so weird.
Yeah.
Awful exit for Lauren, and not great. It was an okay goodbye for Abby, but
the funeral was fine.
It shouldn't have been a goodbye for Abby, you see.
Yeah, but it wasn't even. I say it was Abby's funeral. It wasn't Abby's funeral. It was everything that happened around Abby's funeral. So again, it wasn't nothing.
Once again, Abby was ignored.
Abby was ignored, other than her PowerPoint. Well, other than her PowerPoint presentation,
which got turned off.
Which got turned off.
Yeah.
When they scanned 3 photos on the computer. I mean,
so yes,
very
damaging to the Brannings, John York's time and Sean O'Connor's time. He damaged Max to
almost without no retribution.
Exactly. So, yeah, not the best last Julius theme, but we got there.
Yeah, we did. We
need a Julius theme now because we finished it.
We should play it at the end, and we should have a sound effect of a train going by.
Oh yeah, we would get a CGI train. So
yeah, we would.
There you go, everyone. We made it together.
Yes,
we got there from 1985 all the way to 2018.
Every single Julius theme, apart from the specials.
Oh yeah.
Which at some point we may do. We're going to do a special feature. Julia theme,
honourable mentions.
But
Wings by Little Mix for Liam
you
Butcher's
say that
exit.
every time. You're desperate to get that one in, aren't
Hayley
you?
Slater had one. Hayley Slater even had one on top of
Yeah.
that tower block.
What was she listening to? Was it Wings as well?
I don't know, some weird.
C'est la vie by Bewitched.
But no, there's lots, because there's lots where they just cut to black or fade to black or heartbeats or ticking clocks and things. So
because that's what they did with
Peggy.
Oh, they did it with Peggy, but they also did it with Joyce, the ticking clock, because her watch stopped, and so did her heart, and so did ours as we watched.
Well, there you go. I think that's a good place to
his life unfold.
To stop. So there you go. That was the last part for now of Julia's legacy.
Sad times.
It was end of an era. That's that.
Yes.
I feel like we need to move on to our new host needs to come in and revamp the show, like Kate Oates says.
Yeah.
We're like John York.
We need a new executive producer.
Our era's over.
Our cat has not done a very good job these past
There'll be 2
years.
new hosts next week, everyone. So enjoy that.
Yeah.
This is our last credited episode.
Bye then.
So we are now discussing the strange relationship between Stuart and Rainey. Getting stranger.
Getting more close. I don't know, more agreeable between them.
No,
I don't
Rainey's
know.
playing him.
Oh, I
Keep
think
your enemies close and what is the saying?
keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Yeah, that's what she's doing with her maple syrup.
I mean, yes, when she walked in at the end of the episode between them, she had that little wry grin on her face. But I don't know. I think
she's been doing her research.
What, by talking to Sonia
and Tina and Callum? She's getting her portfolio of Stuart up.
I suppose she's doing something quite similar. It suddenly hit me to what Linda did. She's kind of remember Linda pretended that her and Stuart. Oh, so I suppose she could be doing something similar to that.
Obviously, Stuart's been burnt by that before, so I don't think he's going to let someone else in quite so easily.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah, so I do feel a sense of danger every time I see Rainey try to outsmart Stuart, because I know they're both a bit nutty, but he would then end up doing a violent thing because we don't know if Dylan Box is alive, but it's highly assumed that he went over that dam.
It's still question mark above that, isn't there?
Because the deal was, take this money, you go out of the country, Dylan, and I won't kill you. But Stuart had the money and Dylan's passport on him, so...
I mean, Rainey lost her manipulation card also this week because she felt like she was better at the mind games part of it from last week when she had that fake conversation about which bus to catch. And this week, especially at the beginning of this week, Stuart showed that actually
I can do it too,
better.
Girl.
Yeah, I can do it too, and I can do it up a notch. I can do it at 11.
Yeah, because he kept turning up at her house. It was really weird at night time.
You kept walking in through the door, and the second time he was like, "You really need to lock this door," which was a nice touch, I must say.
And Max is just being horrible as usual, just not listening to him on the phone.
She's phoning him and saying, "I really need you home now. There's a lot of trouble going on down here. Can you come back, please?" And Max is just ignoring her voicemails.
Yeah,
so she's, as you said, she's kind of taking on the responsibility herself.
So there's lots of mind games. It's Pancake Day. Rainey wants to go visit Dot. Dot's not taking visitors. She's in a better place now. Yeah,
Stuart keeps dropping these little clangers, doesn't he? These little hints to indicate that perhaps he's killed or done something to Dot.
It reminds me of The Simpsons when they think Ned's killed his wife, and he says funny things that make it sound like he's killed his wife. It reminds me of that.
And he's got that lady scream.
Yeah, but she's not dead. She's just gone to the airport. Because
Rainey... she's gone to Ireland to visit.
Yeah, but Sonia dropped her off at the airport. Because Rainey was about to phone the police because she thought, "You've killed Dot, I'm going to phone the police." And then Sonia turns up. Yeah. And Sonia's writing's a bit iffy. I love her scenes with Stacey this week. I think that's really nice because we know that they have a mini rivalry because of Martin. And it reminds me of Pat and Pauline, a young version with Stacey and Sonia. So I like their scenes together because they're friends but enemies but don't get on but are there for each other.
Yeah, they're agreeable.
Yeah. But Sonia taking sides of Stuart and Tina standing there and she's like, "Well, I've tried to find something that he's done wrong but I can't find anything."
Yeah.
And it's Sonia.
I know, it's Tina bled her heart out to you.
It was a 10-minute monologue.
Yeah, well, it was a full-on scene, and by the end of it, it was Sonia who suggested to Tina that she phoned the police and reported it. So it's quite the turn by Sonia.
It's a bit silly. I guess I don't know. It's tricky to write this storyline, but
it's
like
difficult.
you shouldn't have to make excuses like that. Really.
No.
It's like if you can't make it seem believable, don't do it.
No, it's difficult because you have to take a leap of a belief anyway for having Stuart back on the square. It's a bit tricky with that respect anyway. But then I suppose it was written quite well this week when Rainey spoke to Tina and told Tina that, you're not exactly living in fear. He's over the road and he's doing nothing to you. So if he was that desperate to upset you still and, interfere with your life, then why has he not done anything yet? Because he could easily do it to you. Which kind of put a little bit of comfort into Tina's mind, I guess. But again, this is what made me think, Sonny, about the Rainy thing, and maybe she's playing him like Linda did with the whole affections.
Yeah, I think she is. It's just that obviously he's fallen for that once. So I think if he finds out that Rainy's doing it, it's going to really push him over the edge.
Well, he didn't even fall for it with Linda. In the end, it was just a scrap, wasn't it? It was really scrappy between Linda and Stuart when she tried to get that confession out of him on that episode.
But even that's like kind of been forgotten. Like, it's a shame Rainy hasn't. Why hasn't she spoken to Mick and Linda about it? Like things like that. It's just a bit. Obviously, they had this idea for Stuart, and they wanted to keep like a villain in, and it's easier to keep a pre-existing character as a villain, but then it makes it really difficult. Like the motive, like why is Rainy all of a sudden like really interested in Dot? Like that doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, they're Brannings. So Rainy sees herself as a Branning. She's protecting the family. It's always about family in EastEnders.
Like that motive doesn't really make sense.
It's a bit tenuous, admittedly, but
she's a Branning
there.
because of Jim. Which Jim died like 10 years ago ish.
Right.
She's been a widow. Like, and then that means Max and Jack are not really related to Dot, but they see her grandmother. And then Rainy comes in from like her sister's ex-husband. Like, why is she now protective of Dot? Is this all like she's never ever shown any protectiveness of Dot before?
Because she's got this family unit now. This was always what it was about.
Because Max is gone, Baby Abby's gone.
Yeah, but she's still under this illusion, isn't she? But the whole thing with the Max and Rainy plan was that Rainy was there not for the money. It was not for the money. She was there always to have the child, to have a family, to be part of a unit, and she's got that. Even though Max is kind of now slowly kind of pushing her away. And so, she's doing it basically to look after Dot. She sees Dot as a family member. But I think it's more to it than that now. I think it's gone further. Now Stuart has tried to manipulate Rainy. Rainy now sees it as a personal vendetta against Stuart.
Do you think Rainy's sort of like, she's obviously been left in this house on her own. Do you think she's just seen this as like a project, like a way to keep her mind
Something
busy?
to do.
Like, kind of, because like she's an ex-addict, she doesn't drink anymore, she doesn't do drugs anymore, like she's finding something to maybe keep herself occupied before she goes off the edge, maybe. That's the only kind of motive I can see, but I don't know, it's quite a loose motive for me.
I mean, it's that's
I love the
storyline,
and I love that Becky Champ and Tanya Franks, Rainy, they're great together, and I like that they're together, but like just like the motive and the links and the way they've made Sonia kind of forget, Stuart's just going to live in this house, and like Robbie's in India for 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just a bit
But they
strange.
mentioned Robbie as well. They said that Robbie's looking after, Beck says that Robbie, I'm used to having a mad person in the house like Stuart because I've lived with Robbie all this time. So to compare Stuart to Robbie seems a bit unfair.
Bit much.
But,
I mean, and we think that maybe Beck's because she's meant to be going to university. Is she going to be leaving the show?
Well, she must be leaving at the end of August if she's going to Oxbridge, which Sonia keeps mentioning. It's like, you're going there.
She's studying.
She's studying.
Not really sure what for. I thought she'd finished.
No, obviously it's the end of her college.
But she's still doing college?
Has to be, or else she wouldn't be doing the exams, which she's studying so hard for, because she fell asleep, didn't she, on the kitchen table, and Stuart was the one who comforted her by giving her a bar of chocolate that she had asked for and laying it on her bed. But then again, Sonia maybe has seen this as one of the strikes, one of the things that Tina told her to look out for.
She's really looking for,
yeah, she's desperately looking
creepiness.
for. I mean, now Tina's told Sonia that that his problem and what you're doing is wrong. Maybe Sonia is going to be up her game a little bit, see things that aren't there with Stuart, which may strain the relationship between Stuart and Sonia further, because Sonia and Stuart's relationship isn't exactly bonded very tightly.
No,
it's very strained.
In the same house.
They're in the same house. They're kind of
freeloading off Dot.
Yeah, they are both freeloading off Dot. This is the thing. Sonia is similar in the sense that she is just kind of just jumping on Dot's back for basically getting free accommodation and getting a roof over her head. So really, they're both after the same thing. Apart from Stuart's going to take it maybe a bit further down the line.
Be interesting where it goes. But I mean, obviously, I think Rainey is just trying to play a clever game, and Stuart's trying to play a clever game, and they're going to come to heads soon. I mean, his year contract will be up in a few months, so whether they're extending his or not, and same as hers. So
I think Stuart, this is definitely not the back of Stuart, and I think there's something big happening with Stuart. I think there's just they're plotting it right now. But believe you me, I think we're going to see Stuart in a huge storyline in the next 2-3 years' time. I really do. I think it's going to be a long haul for Stuart, which is great considering I think Ricky Champ was only ever signed in for the Carter story. So Ricky Champ, the character of Stuart, has really shown there's legs there, and there's much more to come.
But yeah, I just have an issue with motive. That's all. But it's fine. We'll see where it goes.
Don't you worry about it.
So next up, we've got part of the Slater storyline, which is Jean is missing, and everyone wants to try and find out where she is. The police. Stacey doesn't think the police are doing a very good job.
The East End lot never think the police are doing a particularly very good job.
So she wastes police time by saying, my mum said she's going to kill herself. Can you show us when she phoned? Because we got to track her phone. Oh, no, I made it up.
Yeah, oh dear.
But why don't you just do something?
Well, I mean, the police were quite right to say to her that you've basically wasted more time by making this lie up, or time that we could have actually spent looking for your mum. But Jean is fine. We know Jean is okay.
Well,
she's in a caravan.
She's not fine.
Well, she's in a caravan. She wants a bit of alone time. You can't blame her for that.
She's run out of her pills. She hasn't packed all her pills up. She's run out because she looked at her week. She's only got a few days of that left.
And so you can see that there's signs of her slowly deteriorating a little bit, because the gentleman came to the door and started knocking on the door and asked him if she wanted to buy the caravan off him. She started taking up art, which is, again, seems to be a bit of a obsessive-compulsive thing she's doing.
Yeah, she's basically ignoring life and pretending that everything is okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be in this caravan. This place is my safe zone.
Yeah, because she doesn't seem to paint, and she doesn't seem to leave the caravan.
But yeah, I mean, she said yes to buying it. Does she even have any money?
Well, this was a question we had last week, because
we thought I did pose this question.
You did, and we know that she used up her savings in order to help Big Mo and Kat to pay off the debt that they had with the North-East Mafia. I don't know who they are, but the Birmingham Mafia. So where Jean is getting this money, we don't know. So again, this could perhaps
might
lead
be
to something
a bit dreamlandy, do you think?
But then this guy doesn't know that. So this guy, he seems like he's being very friendly, overly friendly with Jean at the moment. I can see that something dark's going to happen.
Yeah, I wasn't
with him.
sure. I know it's a bit horrible to say, but he looks a bit like typical grotty man, casting wise.
Yeah, he looks like
with
trouble.
His long greasy hair and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know if there's going to be a darker side to him. But yeah, so she's ignoring it. She's got test results, which Kat wants to get hold of, even though Jean's not there.
Yes, so Kat pretends to be Jean and gets caught out immediately.
Yes.
Because, doctors tend to recognise your face when you go and visit them.
Plus the age difference. Although I think they've changed Jean's age by 6 years. You know how I like my birthdays?
I know you do.
So that's odd. They've changed that. They've made her younger.
I was about to ask, was it younger or older?
Younger.
Wonder why it younger. I would have thought older would have been more of a benefit for
Maybe
the story.
Just for that storyline where Kat was pretending to be.
Yeah, just to help
rewrote history just for that one scene. But no, the doctor said I can't possibly do that. But she did leave her monitor open.
Yes, wily old Martin. Yeah. When Kat was being escorted out the office, Martin got a post-it note out, pencil, and wrote down the code CA125.
Oh.
Yeah, but unless you're a doctor. You don't know what that code stands for.
Don't know any doctors in Walford or nurses.
So who works in the NHS
only Dr. Legg
trust?
lasted an extra week, and they could have asked Dr. Legg.
Could have asked him.
That could have been his lasting legacy.
Or watching his documentaries on TV.
Oh yes, I remember.
Oh yeah, CI125.
The last thing he does before he dies. Get Jean quickly.
That.
But no, they got it from Sonia, and she said it's bad news.
Of course, Sonia. I forget.
She needs to get back ASAP. It's not good news.
Yeah, as soon as possible. Get Jean back as soon as possible. Really quite upsetting news to hear.
It is upsetting. And but no one knows where she is.
No. And Martin also sees later in the week Sonia and Stacey talking. Again, as you said it earlier on this section, that they've always had quite a fragile relationship, Sonia and Stacey. But this has kind of brought them together because Stacey and Sonia are talking and they hug. And so... And
Martin's
looking. Do you reckon he's thinking to himself, hello?
No.
I'm in for luck here.
I hope he doesn't think Stacey's breaking down or something. Like he got the wrong end of the stick.
I mean, that's what they're all worried about. That's why they're all very concerned about Stacey's obsession with getting her mum back. And she's sitting there quite often.
To be fair, it's quite a ground-founded,
Oh, absolutely. It's a
worry.
huge fear. Yeah, it's a huge fear and
she's
worry.
not overreacting that much.
Not at all.
For EastEnders.
No. Because, as you said, Jean's not got her pills. She's run away. If she doesn't take her pills, as we saw on a few episodes back for Julie's Legacy, if Jean's not on the medicine, she's suicidal. She can be very dangerous to herself.
So, yeah. Oh, when there was a knock on the caravan, for a split second I thought, it's Sean. But it wasn't.
No,
it was an old man. I was like, oh.
Every time Jean comes onto the scene, no, anything at all, a phone call. Like when it came up private number this week, and I said, I bet that's Sean.
Then when you think it's Kat.
It was Kat.
But yeah, I mean, we also had Big Mo causing trouble.
Well, she did.
Trying to help in her own way.
Well, not really. They've got enough problems on their plate. They're trying to... don't forget that they're trying to hide the fact they've got Phil Mitchell's money. But Mo sees money and thinks, I need to spend this money. Yes. She overhears a conversation that a private conversation Cush and Martin are having.
Well, she should have got a recorder out, shouldn't she? Nothing's private around Mo.
Well, no, that's true. When she used Mystic Mo.
Yeah.
Cush has got a good deal on some Victoria Beckham dresses.
Last season's, but they'll still sell.
They'll sell like hotcakes.
Made out of plastic and set on fire at prom, it's fine. Nothing ever came of that Cush.
I know.
He sold that dangerous dress on his stall.
And he spoke... Well, no, he doesn't speak to Louise very often, does he?
No. But him and Bex could be soon.
You think that would be a Mitchell vendetta, wouldn't you? Every time he kind of walks past Cush's store, it's like a scowls at Cush. No,
polyester.
Nothing. Yeah, the cheap stuff.
But no, you need about £1,000, and Cush wants someone to find... to go in with it with him.
Yeah, maybe Martin might have £1,000. You know, looking after 15 people in this house is, he's got money to burn.
Yeah. But Mo overhears and she doesn't want to do it with him, but she then obviously goes behind his back and gets it a bit cheaper as well. And she starts selling them. Whitney wants one. She's up for it.
Yeah. Everyone wants one.
It's a shame Linda's not there. She might have one. Shirley, she might be in a Victoria Beckham dress.
I can't imagine Shirley wanting to wear a Victorian Beckham dress.
But Cush finds out and he's quite angry with Mo.
Yes, because that was his deal. That was his to have. I mean, all's fair in business, Cush.
I know Cush.
They should put Cush on the Celebrity Apprentice this year.
No, they should put Big Mo on there. She would have sold loads.
That would have been perfect. Oh my goodness, why didn't they think of that? That would have been fantastic.
But they find out that she had this because obviously Cush and Martin are friends and they've been showing their friendship again, which is nice. Haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah.
And then Martin then reports back to Kat that where did Mo get £1,000 from? And so she's taken not just £50 like last week, £1,000. I
mean, £50 can be hidden, can be forgotten about. £1,000 is a bit more difficult to sweep under the carpet.
So yeah, she's chucked out. Horrible Stacey chucks out an OAP.
No, Kat does it. Kat says you're not welcome yet. Kat's the one who does the deed. But later feels a bit sorry for herself.
Poor 83-year-old.
I know.
Out on the street.
Well, she's in the cafe and she's phoning up her friends, and not one of them, they're not true friends, Mo, are
not
they?
Even Fat Elvis can help.
Yep, she's going through a list. She's got a list, crosses them all out one by one. Kat takes pity on her when she sees her in the cafe and says, oh, come on then, you can come home. And Mo, no, she's sticking to her guns. No, I've got morals. Yeah. I am not coming back. I know when I'm not wanted. Instead, coaxes Cush into letting her stay. Just one night.
It's got a free room, why not?
Yeah, one night only. The Cush and Mo show. And it seems to be bubbling along quite nicely.
So this is Kate Oates' Odd Couple. So, yeah, Cush and Mo living together.
Yeah.
Quite good. I actually like it because it's given Mo, last year I kept going on about Mo being two-dimensional. It has given her a bit more to do. And it's given her a bit more rounded. And she was crying and she was upset when she was talking to Cush, and he left the room and it stayed on her, and you thought, oh, is she going to laugh now? But she carried on crying. So she did mean what she said, I think.
Yeah,
she was doing it for the family in her own way.
Yeah, I mean, with Mo, she does have good intentions, but there's always the undertone that really it's for her. And they're going to welcome her back eventually. But I think she has learned a little bit of a lesson, or hope she has. But then I say that, but she's kind of really got her feet under the table at Cush's house now.
Well, yeah.
Big time.
I'd be there.
They share a bottle of wine together, haven't
Called
they?
her gorgeous. Whether he's awake or not sure.
Yeah, wakes him up when he's naked in the bed. I mean, he was flabbergasted when she was there, leaning over him with a cup of tea.
The funnier thing... The whole thing is funny, but the funnier thing is that she's not interested in him at all, which is really fun. It's quite good and funny that she's like, "Oh no, you're not my type. What you going on about?" that's really nice.
It reminds me a little bit, just a little bit, before we get people sending us in tweets saying there's nothing to do with that. But it does remind me a little bit of the whole Ethel and Lofty dynamic, in the sense that they both lived in this house share, and Lofty looked after Ethel, and Ethel looked after Lofty.
Yeah.
And it was like the older generation looking after the young. And I mean, Cush and Mo could have that kind of relationship where it's because Cush doesn't have his mum there anymore. And so
He's
Mo
quite alone, like Lofty was.
yeah. So he needs this kind of like support from Mo, and also the cheeky side of Mo, because Cush can be a bit straight-laced sometimes and a bit serious, and I think the cheeky side of Mo would really mix things up nicely with them both. So I actually like this relationship between them.
It's really good.
I know it's not going to go down this road, but I just hope it won't go down the road that a relationship will break up between them.
No, because there were slight hints at a weird relationship between Bex and Cush this week, which I'm hoping it's more of a friendship thing because of Shaquille, and like he's going to look after Bex, and look out for her. I hope, but I don't want it to turn into a relationship. I don't care about the age difference or anything like that.
No,
but it's just the fact that it's Martin's kid, and like he had an affair with Stacey.
Yeah,
and then
it would be a bit weird.
Yeah, it would be, and like it would kind of tread on like the Shaquille Bex thing. It's a bit weird.
It would really kind of poop on the memory of Shaquille a little bit, wouldn't it, if they started saying that Cush and Louise were having a relationship?
And why can't you just have two characters, male, female, who are just friends, or like he's just looking out for her,
without it becoming a sexual relationship or one falling madly in love with the other while they're still married? Or
but it was hinted because like Martin thought Cush had a woman over.
Yes.
And it turns out that it was Big Mo, but Denise still jealous. She still has feelings.
Yeah, her ears were burning when she was at the bar, and she stormed out when the rumour started getting more ignited underneath him.
Yeah, sexy Big Mo.
I never thought those words would be put into the same sentence.
She's in her towel. She's good. But then Martin said something like, "Oh, you're not jealous, Beck. You don't want him all to yourself, do you?" And I thought, why is that line there? I don't know if they are going to do this relationship with those two.
I'm not sure. I mean, as Cush said, he wants to protect Bex because of the whole relationship with Shaquille. So as you say, it'd be better if it was kept like that. And it would also lead quite nicely to the Stuart story, perhaps. Maybe there's something happening with Stuart and Bex. Maybe he's going to use her as a pawn in her game against Sonia. Maybe Cush tries to stand up to Stuart and he's one of his victims. No, it can't, because then Carmel would just have a breakdown. So that would destroy Carmel. Can't happen. Let's erase that. Can't have my Cushy. Cushy could outpower him, couldn't he? Cushy? Oh, yeah, he's big. Yeah. We all know. Well, I was going to say, we saw this week. He's like doubled in size. I mean, geez, Big Mo's not interested. Big Mo is not interested. I think Big Mo's she's lost all of her slippers. Yeah, she would. Bottle of wine and slippers. That's all she wants of an evening. Too right. Right, so next up we have a game. I wonder if it will be popular this week. Just want to drop that in there. After the success last week of Where's Halfway's Hat, which we got lots of lovely messages from people to say how much they enjoyed new game on our Facebook group, it's time to go back to an old favourite. It's Ian Beale's Real Deal, Ben. So any new listeners to the podcast who may not know the rules to Ian Beale's Real Deal, I'm going to have a list of things, and the list has an answer which is either greater or lesser than the one that preceded it. Oh, right, yeah. So, so it's a higher and lower game, for instance. Even I forgot. Wow, it's stuck in your mind that much, has it? So this week we're looking at children. We're looking at Sorry, what? We're looking at... oh, God, yeah, quickly. Hurry up, Alex. We're looking at the number of children mothers of the square have birthed, have given into the world, right? Has released from their motherly womb. Okay. So, and I just want you to tell me whether one is higher or lower than the last. Easy. Easy peasy. And don't forget to join in, listeners at home. So, we're starting off, and I'll give you the answer to this one, with Linda Carter, who has had 4 children. She's birthed 4. Yes. Can you name them? Ollie. Yeah. Lee. Yeah. Nancy. Yeah. Johnny. And Johnny. Yeah, Johnny. Who can forget Johnny? Ollie Carter, obviously, all have the father of Mick Carter. That we know of. Well, Ollie was... There was a bit of a question mark for a little while. Everyone thought it might have been Dean Wix's, but luckily it wasn't. And when Stuart was introduced, I remember people thinking online, was Lee
not really the son of Mick.
Yes.
It may have been Stuart, but...
So we still
Alas.
don't know. We may never find out. So, Linda Carter has had 4 children. Stacey Slater, has she had more or less than Linda Carter?
More.
Do you want to hazard a guess how many?
5. Actually, I don't think she has had more. Lily, Arthur, Hope. 3. Less.
So you're saying lower?
Yes.
You're spot on. 3. Arthur, Lily and Hope. Arthur is Cush's. Lily is Ryan, Malloy's. And Hope is...
Mine.
Yes, the husband.
Finally.
Finally had it with the man she's with. So Stacey's had 3 children. But what about Carol Jackson? Higher or lower than 3?
Higher. Oh yeah, higher.
Higher?
Much higher.
Name them.
Right. Bianca.
Yep.
Sonia.
Yep.
Robbie.
Yep.
Bailey. Not Bailey.
No, you're right.
What's his name?
He died from alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, I know. I'll just skip him.
Billy Jackson. That's all of them. 4.
That's all of them.
That's 4.
Okay,
4
yeah.
kids. Again, all with different dads. Robbie, it was Gary Bolton. Billy was Alan Jackson's. Bianca was David Wicks's. Wixie, because she fancied her own father. That was a storyline.
yes.
And Sonia Fowler was Terry Kant. So Carol's had 4 kids. What about Denise Fox? How many has she popped out?
3.
3. Can you name them?
Libby.
Yeah. Who's in Oxford at the moment?
Yes.
Her father was Owen Turner.
Chelsea.
Yep. Who's Lucas's?
Yep. And I don't know what the name of her one she gave up for adoption was. She didn't name him.
The one she had with Phil Mitchell on a drunk night. Mentioned recently during the Ruby storyline in the pub. Raymond.
Okay.
Everyone loves Raymond. Denise has had 3. How many has Cat Moon had? Higher or lower than 3?
Higher.
Yeah. If you're so certain, name them, Ben.
Bert, Ernie, Tommy.
Yep.
Zoe.
Yep.
Dimitri. Or no, not Dimitri. That's who she's had an affair with. Oh, what's him from Redwood? Dermot.
That's it. That's all of them.
That's it.
So
that we know of. That could have been triplets.
Well, that we know of, we're on 5, and so it was higher than 3. Dermot and Zoe were the product with Harry Slater. Obviously, that's a very dark storyline,
Yes.
so we shall move on to Tommy Moon, who is Michael Moon's baby. Thought to be Alfie's, but Alfie has only had the twins with Cat, which is Bert and Ernie.
Yes, double.
Yeah. So Cat Moon has had 5, but what about good old Karen Taylor? How many kids has Karen Taylor got? That we know. I should say that we know of.
Oh yeah, she has got more higher.
Higher than 5.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to say, Ben?
Yes. Keanu,
Yep.
Chantel, Keegan, Bernie, Riley, Chatham.
That's it. That's all of them. That's all 6. Keegan is
and the dog.
Well, that's not a maternal child. Keegan is Keegan's father is Mitch Baker. Riley and Chatham is unknown. No one knows the father. Chantel is also with Mitch Baker. Bernadette is also unknown, and Keanu Taylor, all we know is his name is Shane.
And he's in prison. Or was in prison.
Yes. So last one, Ben. You've got...
Oh, there's more.
You've got full marks at the moment. Karen Taylor, this is the last one. Karen Taylor. Has Cindy Beale had more children than Karen Taylor?
Less.
So you're saying no, she's had less children?
Yes, she's had less children than Karen.
That's correct. And who may they be?
Stephen.
Yep, who is Simon Wicks's.
Oh, yes. Lucy and Peter.
Who is Ian's legitimate children.
And Cindy Bill Jr.
Who is with Nick Holland. You're very good at children.
You're welcome. I know my history.
There we go. Well, I can't say anything more
full
to
marks.
that. You got full marks, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, well.
Well done. Well done.
You couldn't even work out what the laundrette was last week.
No, well, I know, and I've been proper insulted by lots of people for that. So
Good.
Again, I just want to say we love getting your comments on Twitter at EastEnders Week, Instagram at EastEnders Weekly Podcast, or you can email us eastendersweekly@gmail.com, or you can find our Facebook group EastEnders Weekly Podcast. And yeah, keep jibing me about the fact that I didn't know from the clue I can taste soap that we were in the laundrette. I'm sorry, I was just overwhelmed by the whole situation.
Well,
I didn't know.
Quite heartbreaking.
I didn't know a hat could talk.
Well, he can.
Hopefully
And he'll talk again, maybe.
in the future. And that was another quite whitewashed round of Ian Beale's Real Deal.
There you go. That was quite successful.
You were
for
very
me.
successful. I was very impressed when we recorded that. I was like, oh, my goodness. I have to try harder next time.
Here.
I mean, considering my fail last week, which lots of people, as I mentioned in the section, lots of people decided to remind me of how bad I was at that game.
But we got news. Halfway's got a hat on again because his hair is not in the food because he's got a hat on.
But it was just a chef's hat. It was military tight, that hat. Blood wasn't even circulating. When he took it off, there was just white, just a white rim where his head was.
Yes, because we had like a mini story, like 3 mini stories in one here. So here, get ready for yourselves, everyone. So we had Habiba and Ikra. They're still wanting to sabotage the Vic for some reason and make as many enemies as they can.
Yeah, I mean, Tina and Shirley weren't exactly very forthcoming when they came. They were, they were putting out an olive branch. They were saying, we're doing this event. It'd be really great if we worked together. We could then, both benefit from it. And Shirley especially was a bit like, no, go away. And Tina kind of just stood there like Muttley laughing as she was like...
Oh, you on Team Ikra, are you?
Well, Ikbar. I don't... Right, I'm going to lay this road right now.
Oh.
I have to say, I'm really not getting very warm from Ikra and Habiba.
Well, both of them?
Yeah, I liked Habiba more than Ikra from the initial start. And just not... This isn't the bang I was hoping from them.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slow starter, which is fine. You can introduce characters slowly. But I think the way they've made them go in and try and make enemies of everyone doesn't really make sense because they don't really have that much to gain from running this restaurant for Masood for like 2 months.
No, I mean, I suppose it makes sense later down the line because obviously at the end of the week we see Mel's plan starting when she's trying to take over Ian's business to kind of woo him because she knows that he's got money and so he can pay for the lawyers for Hunter. So I suppose it makes sense in that respect that if they keep self-sabotaging themselves, then it's going to make Mel's job much easier to convince Kathy and Ian down the line.
Do you not think Mel is trying to... Because she keeps telling Kathy, this is a good idea, do this. This is a good idea, do it. And Kathy's like, no, they're okay, they're just doing... She's like quite chilled out.
She's chilled out because she's drinking a hell of a lot of that red wine that she's been... the crates of red wine. So
when Ian comes back and he comes back and like, Mum, the profits are down, this, and Mel will come in and be like, well, Ian, I did tell her to do this, she didn't listen. And he's like, right, Mum, you're fired or something, and then hires Mel. Is that what's going to happen, do you think?
Kathy, go back to the calf.
Yeah.
That's your domain.
'Cause he likes doing that to Kathy, doesn't he? Putting her down.
He really does. I know, not fair.
Our treacle.
I think you've got the nail on the head there. I mean, Mel has got other things to do, as in run E20, which she seems to be forgetting.
That's a bit iffy at the moment, so maybe she's trying to find a way out. Because Sharon's not easiest woman to work with.
That's true. She steals cash registers and card machines right from under her nose. Yeah, so I suppose so. But me saying this about Ikra and Habiba, I mean, they did take an interesting turn this week where you saw that there was, we've been mentioning it for weeks, there must be some relationship between them and Adam. There must be some relationship.
Because they are Med fostered him.
And so we learnt that they do know each other. And it's
look.
a very strange, a very strange
from
relationship.
Habiba.
From Habiba. The interesting sister and the dentist. So,
but I don't know whether does she fancy him or they've had some sort of relationship, because he's obviously quite a bit older than them, isn't he? Like a few years.
Yeah, I mean, he must have known them when they were very young.
Yeah.
And I think he even said like, "Oh, you've grown up. You've really grown up." And Habiba, was like, "Oh, yes, really, I have."
Really odd. Whether she just fancied him when they were growing up or something a bit more darker between them both. I'm not sure. But we all know Adam's a bit weird
Well, Adam's beginning to show, he's beginning to
controlling.
Show... That's it, a controlling side to him. Like he had Honey very close to him when they were in the pub and Billy was kind of showing off because there was the pancake competition this week. It's pancake day, let's have a pancake competition.
It's the choir cast again.
It
slash
basically
cast,
is. Yeah.
Slash pancake race cast.
Anyone who they can just kind of fill in the gap, they've done a pancake. So
they are getting smaller because like the characters that used to be there do have a storyline now.
They've got
but
stuff to do.
There's still a few like Adam, Honey, Billy and some of the kids that don't have a storyline still. So they're still there.
I mean, I like that they're kind of keeping the Honey and Adam story. Billy doesn't really matter much to me at the moment, but the Honey and Adam story, I like that they're keeping it bubbling along, and I like that you see little touches of it now and then. Last week there was a couple of scenes with them too, so in that respect, yes, great, there's this kind of slow story happening, but I do want them to kind of push forward with it now, especially with Ikra and Habiba.
We wanted it to get going for a while and it's like it's not, but even this Habiba and Ikra one, I mean next week Linda is back, but Mick isn't from the wedding. So that means the wedding's over. So I'm assuming that must mean that Ahmed's are coming back too. similar time
I guess
after the
so,
wedding,
yeah,
because they're
they
meant
must
to be
be-
in Australia to the wedding, aren't they?
Right.
So hopefully when they come back, we'll then see a bit more of the home dynamic with Ikra and Habiba and Adam coming over to visit or something. So, yeah. I am interested in Ikra and Habiba because it's nice having new characters.
I am, but I was so disappointed when
But it's
last
just-
week we
yeah.
learned that their story was they're trying to get the money back because of the arranged marriage that they didn't want.
Yeah, but that's the first thing we found out. Like that wasn't
True.
That wasn't like a big reveal in 3 months. So
That's true.
hopefully that's just like, oh, that's just the first reveal. There's lots more to it.
That's
maybe.
true. That's true. I
I'm
mean,
not
this
sure what
Adam
it could
thing.
be.
Yeah, this Adam theme is very interesting. I have to say.
I quite like Adam. Like not like him, but I want to see more of him.
Yeah.
But they're not giving us more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But then I think maybe perhaps because they haven't kind of just piled Adam on us. That's why we're curious to know more about him.
It'd be shocking when something does happen.
He's really interesting. He's an interesting character when you learn little bits and
He
pieces.
says so
about
little.
him.
So
Yeah.
You can only go with what your imagination thinks him at the moment.
Yeah.
So let's just hope it lives up.
But again, can I just quickly point out that Billy and Adam are having a ridiculous competition yet again, which makes no sense to me. Because
Making
Adam,
gestures about people's sizes of things as well.
yeah,
again.
because they did it at Christmas about
Yeah.
the size of the tree, and this week they've done the size of their
Why
frying
is
pan.
his bigger than mine?
Yeah, for goodness sake. Yeah.
Only Honey knows the truth.
Well, then we need to speak to Honey. We need to get Honey on the show. Yeah, exclusive. What size
Can
is
we
their
settle this
appendages?
down, please? We need to know these things.
But Billy won the biggest tosser competition because he was able to toss bigger and better than Adam and the rest of them. And he won the competition. And I have to say, the line of the week for me was by far when every time they said, and the winner gets free drinks. And every time Callum would step in and say 6 drink maximum. And it just always made me laugh every time. I loved that. It was like
Strange half.
stop saying halfway.
I can't do it. It's in my
Callum.
heart. Callum, like being sensible there. That's like more of a Shirley line.
But he made that T-shirt though, didn't he? And he ran out of room to put. So he said free drinks competition, and then they said, why don't you put the drinks regulation on the? He said, I ran out of room from the bottom. So yeah, I liked that. It was a nice bit of humour.
Should have asked Lauren to do some commissioning work and sent over a.
No, not
graphic.
Lauren. Whitney. Hang
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Whitney was going to start a T-shirt business.
That's
what
true.
8 months ago? Surely she could have designed the T-shirt and got it made
Go on,
for.
Callum, use your assets.
Yeah, but use the woman you're dating, trying to have a child with. Do you know nothing about her?
Oh,
So yes,
Bless.
Ikra and Habiba. Again,
slow start.
very slow start.
I'm not going to say I don't like them yet. I'm going to wait. I said
Okay.
3 months I'll give them until
Yeah.
I've decided.
I know I'm jumping the gun. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm jumping the gun. It's just that the build up to them. This happens to me every time though. The build whenever
Yeah, it's
the
those
press
promo pictures you see.
Exactly,
They
whenever-
look so good.
they did. Whenever the press say these are the new characters, they're coming in and they're going to do this, that, and the other, and they want, I'm easily manipulated, I guess. I'm like, oh yes, I can't wait for them to come. Whenever a character comes in and there's no fanfare for them, and I'm a bit like, well, I don't care. I always
like
end up
them.
loving
Like
them.
Bailey.
Like Bailey.
They've also announced that a guy from Brookside is joining as part of like the Phil Mitchell rivalry and the Keanu and Ben storyline. Everyone seems to be over the moon about that. I've not really seen him in anything before, but apparently he's an excellent actor.
That's good.
And it's quite a coup to get him. But I have no judgments on him. I mean, another Phil rival is a bit Aiden or
Yeah.
like not another rival.
Well,
to Phil.
Aiden wasn't a rival, was he? He was a
Yeah, but he
an
knew
ally.
Phil from prison, and
he did, but they were allies up until the very end when
but they
he
need
realised.
to stop doing this like hard man Phil because like he's like 60 now.
No, I don't mind him being kind of like the gruffy. I like his role at the moment where he's kind of like, still kind of dominates the
Godfather.
square. Yeah, he kind of looks over the square and makes sure that everything is in line to the Mitchell way. But
Hopefully that's what Ben will be like now, because they're changing his character. Maybe he'll come in a bit of a gruffer, meaner Mitchell.
the meek will inherit. That's what they say.
Yeah,
You
so
know.
exciting. So that's in a few weeks as well. We've got another. He's a short term character, but everyone seems to be very excited about him.
No, it should be interesting. I mean, there's a few theories banded about, but let's just wait and see what happens. Right, so I guess we'd better get ourselves ready for some social hubbing because it's time for the end of the podcast where we see who's won the week and read out some of your tweets and emails.
And you know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So, before we start Who Won the Week, as always, Ben has trawled through the old VHS tapes and looked at stories that happened this week in the past of EastEnders.
Yeah, potentially called this time last year if ITV don't mind.
I think
Davina.
I think Davina will have a few things to say. I wouldn't mess with Davina.
But yes, I did it this week. I went back for some past episodes from years that you guys have suggested for me to look at. So the first one is the 9th of March, 1993.
Good year.
Vintage. Good. Yes. Arthur Fowler is having an affair.
Oh, Arthur. After all you've been through with Pauline.
Vicky Fowler's gone missing. Someone's stolen her from school.
Kidnapped her?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
And they all think it is Michelle's stalker. She had a stalker, by the way, before the weird stalker on the train.
Yeah, that's really odd,
isn't it?
So they reused the story.
Yeah,
the stalker.
So the same character.
She should have been used to this. She must have been old hat with it. She should have known all the signs from the beginning.
Yeah, so Vicky's been taken, and all the time Arthur's on the phone to his other woman.
Oh, Arthur,
so he
this
feels a bit guilty.
Poor show, very poor show.
And he's like talking to the woman in front of Martin, and he's just on the sofa.
How old's Martin at this point? What, 8?
Yes.
He was born in 85, so he would have been 8, yeah.
Yeah, so not very good.
Well, he also known what was going on. By 8, you know what's happening around you. You're aware of your environment.
Yeah, and Pauline phoned Arthur, because they're like living separately at the moment, I think. She's staying in Michelle's, and she says, "I do love you, Arthur." And he's only just hung up on the phone to the woman he's having an affair with.
Tut, tut, tut.
Right, so the next one, 8th of March, 2012.
Oh, London Olympics.
Yeah, dodgy year. The truth has just come out about Zainab's past. Remember about the fire and her ex-husband abusing and the scars on Tamwar's back?
Yes.
It's all come out.
Oh, so it's revealed.
The revelations have come out, and they're all having, at the end of the episode, all the Ahmeds who have taken over EastEnders, basically, at this point. They have every storyline. They're all sitting around together having a meal. Zainab, Christian, Saeed.
Has they come out with
Yeah,
Christian
they're all
and Saeed?
happy. They're all friends, family. They toast for a new start. It's all good from here.
Oh, dear.
We all know how that goes.
I was going to say, I expect at the end of the episode a bus to crash through their front wall, to hear something like that.
And the 10th of March, 2008, which is quite this one. This was talked about last week with Shirley. Shirley's fallen over drunk in her house and hit her head.
I miss drunk Shirley. You never see drunk Shirley anymore.
No, so she's had to go to hospital just to get checked over. And the doctor notices that Shirley's all worried and she doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to be touched. And it turns out that she's recently thinks that she's found a lump in her breast.
Ah, so
this was mentioned
sense.
last week with Jean, saying that, I had a cancer scare. So this is when it was, 10th of March 2008.
Oh my goodness, so 11 years, that's a throwback.
Yes, and she got it tested, but she didn't go get the results. Quite similar again to Jean. How Jean's not wanting to get results.
No.
So, but she does eventually, like a few months later, thanks. And this is how like the Phil and Shirley romance start, because Phil helps her and then she helps him with his meth addiction. And it turns out she's cancer-free.
That's nice. You help me with my cancer-free, and I'll help you with your meth.
Well, no, that's where their relationship started, because he gave her the courage to like just go get the results, and then she was there for him, and that's where the romance started.
Oh,
as well.
lovely.
So,
I mean, I love Shirley.
Big throwback.
Phil. Yeah, huge throwback. Shirley and Jean's relationship, I really like, and I hope they do grow on it with this story with Jean. But I'm a bit afraid that they're kind of keeping her at like reaching distance. So they kind of interact briefly, but never have a full-on, story together. But
it's got time. It's a new story. It's got time to grow.
It's got lots of time to grow. So, fantastic. So, who do you think won the week this week? As always, we put the poll on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and we ask you which story or character had won your heart. And we gave the options of Karen Taylor, Kat Slater, Whitney Dean, and Cushion Big Mo. Honourable mention, someone said that we should have included Tiffany. So yes, quite right, but unfortunately Twitter...
She didn't make the cut, I'm afraid.
She doesn't make the cut, and also Twitter only gives us 4 options.
Yeah.
So
she gave drugs to Keegan, so no, she was off.
Keegan took the drugs from her.
That's why he's not on it too.
Well, exactly, naughty. So who do you think, of the original 4, do you think won the week? In our listeners' hearts.
Cushion Mo, obviously.
No. So the order was last place Kat Slater with 8% of the votes.
Yeah.
Third was Whitney Dean with 17% of the votes.
Oh, I like Whitney.
Cushion Big Mo was second with 35% of the votes. And Karen Taylor won the week with 40%.
She has good moments this week, Karen did. She had moments that are pushing her forward onto that matriarch of EastEnders legend status.
Absolutely. I love Karen Taylor. I love the Taylors. I love all the characters in the Taylors. I kind of want them to do a story of Chapman and Riley. Like something other than...
Yeah, well, one of them is slightly older, and I think he's just turned over 16, so he's now allowed to do more scenes.
More serious scenes.
So there may be some.
Yeah, because I
in the
liked the
future.
story when they were a bit mischievous and they stole the mobile phone. I did. I liked that.
Or the battery that never ended.
Well, no, that's true. That was silly, but that wasn't their fault. That was the mobile phone's fault. Or the
That was Stacey's phone that had the recording that told
Jane
about
was asking.
Jane.
Jane was asking for help. Yeah, who deleted it? Max deleted it.
Yeah, because Tanya came and played it to everyone, and then Max deleted it.
So again, what a great character Max is. I'm so glad that he's gone.
I'm not missing Max at all.
No, nor me. No, in fact, it's
better.
Yeah, it's emphasised the point that Max is not necessary to build a story.
Jake. But he's got a successful podcast. He's on
all
tour.
Right. Yeah, he's doing a tour on his podcast. We should do a tour on our podcast. if anyone wants to
a venue of 5.
If anyone wants to take us in, please feel free to email us eastendersweekly@gmail.com. So a few comments quickly on the poll of the week. At TV Updated says, Big Mo, although I really enjoyed Tiffany's story, do you think she's leaving or probably another threat that lasts one duff? Well, we've already explained that we think she's going to go away for a little bit, but perhaps maybe come back a bit later on. At RiriPeach86 said, Big Mo, she's a legend and I love her. And at Shinda_Hannah says, Tiffany, she's being manipulated by that horrid Evie. She needs shelter, love and security, and she's falling into all the wrong places. Yes, I agree. I think... But I think that's what makes this story so interesting, that Tiff is so easily led just to be friends. She just wants that union, doesn't she? She said she just wants people to like her and be around her.
She doesn't have any friends, she said, even though she comes across that she does.
Mm.
Very damaged. I just want to read out a few, not really a poll, but it was International Women's Day the other day. So we posted out, who's your favourite EastEnders woman?
Oh,
I've got to say mine was Lou Beale, obviously, because... we're kindred spirits.
I must say I do like Lou Beale. Although I do love a bit of Sharon.
Oh yeah, and Kathy. And Dot and Ethel. And it's everyone.
I know,
all the women.
All the female characters.
None of the men. They're all rubbish, apart from Kush.
Oh, Frank. Butcher. Everyone loves Frank.
But no, nothing on Pat, so...
Pat Butcher, I forgot about Pat.
Seeing so many women.
The wonderful Pat. Her watermelon dress that she always wears when she's working behind the bar.
Yeah, so Queen City EastEnders fan says Dot. Robin Thomas Byrne said 100% Ethel Skinner.
Yeah,
I do love Ethel.
You
can't not love her.
I just love her little ahs every now and then.
And I was so sad on Classic. We haven't talked about Classic EastEnders, but when she had to leave to her home, it was so sad. She was on her own New Year's Eve night.
But she chose to be on her own.
I
she
know,
wanted to,
but it was still...
transition quietly. I like that when she was in her sheltered housing, Lou visited and ate all her custard creams. Woman of my own heart.
They should have made a spin-off, Ethel and Lou in the Old People's Home.
They should have called it Custard Cream.
Yeah. Custard Cream London. Cream of London.
Custard Cream of London.
Ellie Beebe says, got to be Lou, of course. Mm-hmm. Daniel says Queen Sharon.
Yeah, nice one, Daniel.
And Thomas says Ethel. Emma Louise Webb from ITV says all of them.
Oh.
So there you go.
That's a very general sweeping comment, but thank you.
But I agree.
Yeah, we do agree with that.
Rhiannon Peach says Janine Butcher, love her. Letitia and Gillian fan Twitter says Kathy and Sharon, surprisingly.
Yeah, fair enough.
Funny that, coming from a Letitia Dean and Gillian Tailful fan
site, yeah, funny.
Cameron says Dawn, played by Cara Tompkins. No.
Oh, I forgot about Dawn.
No.
I was never a fan of Dawn.
Her exit ruined it.
Again, listen to the Julius themed episode to find out more.
And Danielle Johnson said Kat Slater. So yeah, lots of iconic women on that show.
Well, it just goes to show that there's not one. There's like lots and lots, and that's what makes
Pauline,
it such a good.
pre-2006.
Pauline. Well, Pauline pre-1998. Yeah, she kind of lost her way quite quickly.
Did. Character assassination.
But
there you go.
There we go. You can keep up with all of our polls and our questions. We post them on our Twitter, which is @EastEndersWeek. We also post questions and have a conversation on our Facebook group. All you have to do is join us by searching EastEnders Weekly Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram @EastEnders Weekly Podcast, or you can email us if you have any questions or views about the show, eastendersweekly@gmail.com.
And next week, there'll be the new host of the show, because we've finished our tenure of this era of EastEnders Weekly. So we're going to be announcing our live tour.
Yes, next week.
Hopefully we'll see you soon.